everyone, I'm Sam Squires and welcome to NRL Tonight. We have a big show ahead as we prepare to kick off round 10. So let's launch straight into it. Here's the latest in the NRL today. Thursday Night League pits the Dolphins against the Bulldogs with the Canterbury Star racing the clock to play. The Rabbitohs dealt a major blow on the eve of their clash against the Sharks. And the Roosters shut down suggestions that a key forward wants out of the club. There's all those stories and plenty more. But round 10, of course, kicks off tonight at Suncorp Stadium with the Bulldogs and Dolphins going head-to-head. Coach Christian Wolf has shaken up his halves following their win over the Storm, with Cody Nikorima to start at 5'8" over Brad Schneider. For the Bulldogs, Matt Burton is racing the clock to prove his fitness after battling illness. Sean O'Sullivan has been named on the six-man bench. Canterbury and the Dolphins have played each other 3 times, with the Bulldogs claiming 2 wins. In each match, whoever has led at halftime has gone on to win. So the Bulldogs have 11 straight losses when going into halftime trailing and will look to snap a 3-game losing streak amid question marks around the club's culture.
I know what our culture's like internally, but we're very proud of that culture. Obviously, there's times where there's little mishaps along the way, and I think I've already said that, I'm happy that 3 of our guys stayed back to make sure 1 didn't miss the plane. So that's a good thing, but when you're losing, these little things happen. You need to do better, and the boys have put their hand up straight away and realised they need to do better, and we moved on pretty quick.
For the Dolphins, winger Jermaine Asako will look to continue his try-scoring record against the Bulldogs. He's scored in each of their 3 previous meetings. They are equally desperate. They have the worst completion rate in the competition and will welcome back Jeremy Marshall-King after a pre-season knee injury.
He makes us a better team. If I think of his last game before he got injured in the international series, he was the best player on the field for the first 40 minutes. And his craft and what he does around the ruck was really pulling Samoa apart. So it was a shame he got injured in that game, and obviously then he's copped another injury over the pre-season. So there's no doubt he makes a big difference to us.
Latrell Mitchell has been ruled out of the Rabbitohs clash with the Sharks this weekend. The South Sydney centre suffering a lower back injury that will see him sidelined for up to a fortnight. That also means Mitchell is racing against the clock to be fit for the State of Origin series opener at the end of the month. He'll be replaced in the centres this weekend by Latrell Seagwalt. The Roosters are flying on the field, but off it, they've had to shut down any suggestions Spencer Leniu could be on the way out. They'll play Gold Coast on Friday, with Titans coach Josh Hannay promising 20-year-old debutant Zane Harrison he'll be given a solid crack at first grade.
Trent Robinson quick to shut down any rumours Spencer Leniu won't see out his contract.
Of course he will. You've got to be careful that stuff, people don't buy into those sort of conversations too much. Just because one person says it doesn't mean it's true.
Reports have emerged the New South Wales Blues firebrand wants out of the club early, despite being contracted until the end of 2027. The 25-year-old not happy after averaging just 23 minutes in 4 games off the bench this year.
Spenny doesn't talk to anybody outside of there, and we haven't either. So I think it's disappointing when those things come up. He's definitely wants more minutes. And we've had those conversations, and he gets his opportunity to go out there and play this weekend.
Robinson confident Angus Crichton has overcome a suspected MCL sprain, despite fears he was in doubt for the State of Origin opener.
Really keen to play tomorrow and ready to go, so good recovery.
Winger Mark Nwanganita-Wase is gone for at least 6 weeks with an ankle injury. Cody Ramsey to make his starting debut for the club after coming on as a replacement in their win over the Broncos. A special moment after 1,300 days out of the game and fears he would never play again after being diagnosed with a serious bowel disease.
I mean, to be alive is a real gift for him. He will openly talk about it, but how the feeling of, why me can come in at different times, and then it can also offer as an excuse. Whereas he turned that sort of why me into, well, I know what I love and family first and then footy second, and I'm going to get back to playing, and he's done that.
The Titans trained at North Sydney Oval ahead of their clash with the Roosters in Gosford. Coach Josh Hannay needing big improvement from his men, dubbing last week's first half a step backwards.
Again, there's been some tough conversations this week. We've made some change. I know they're a proud group, they're a tight group, so I guess it's about their actions now.
Lachlan Ilias axed by a third different club in 3 years. It opens the door for 20-year-old Zane Harrison to make his NRL debut, the Gold Coast product touted as the club's long-term halfback.
And Zane's had a reputation coming through, like his name has been on, I guess, the lips of everyone up in Queensland around being the next great halfback in the state. So I do believe that he's got the temperament to kind of sort of park the external noise and really focus on what's important internally.
The Roosters have won 5 in a row. Dane Livingston, Fox Sports News.
The Cowboys will have no shortage of motivation for their clash with the Eels, with Jason Taumalolo to become the most capped player in club history. In an added boost, Jake Clifford has brushed off rival offers to re-sign with North Queensland for 2 seasons, keeping him at the club until the end of 2028.
Yeah, really happy for him. He has been open with his desire to nail down that position in the halves and stay at the club. And what I like is his consistency every day here at training. He's gone after it, and the way he's playing, he's playing to his strengths. He's been consistently in our best players from week to week over the first 9 rounds. So, yeah, it's just a reward for his effort and hard work.
How's the rest of the team shaping up for tomorrow night's game?
Yeah, everyone's really keen and excited. It's a big occasion for our club. You know, Jace becomes our most capped player in our entire existence. So, there's great energy this morning. Tommy did and spoke what it means to the group, and that requires our best effort, and that's what will be happening. Yeah, I mentioned, a couple of times in the past, like the way he plays, the position he plays, the length of time he's been in the game for. It is unbelievable, the type of footy he's been able to play and continues to play, and that's a lot of games, man. So if everyone could see what his body looks like some days, and particularly in warm-ups, you'd be amazed how he can get on the park. He's a really tough competitor, and I haven't seen any tougher. Yeah, he came in here as a young boy. He's now a man. Certainly someone that everyone looks up to. He's influential in ways that he doesn't really quite understand. He's not a huge talker. He leads by his actions, and what he's done for the game, in his homeland of Tonga, even in New Zealand to a certain degree, can't be underestimated. And the influence he has within the group and the club I don't think he understands either. So, he's a nice kid. He works hard. He's humble. I'm glad he's one of us.
New South Wales veteran Kezie Apps is relishing in the opportunity to start in Game 2 after coming off the bench in the series opener. Tiani Penatani Gray's knee injury forced to reshuffle to the Blues forward pack, but that isn't phasing Apps as her side looks to wrap up the series at Suncorp Stadium.
Back in the back row. So obviously I love playing back row. I loved my time in the middle though. I was excited to, obviously I'll play any position where Strangey would want me to play. And obviously last game I had a role to do playing in the middle. And I really enjoyed being around the ball a lot more in that washing machine. Have so much respect for the middles now. Not that I didn't before, but back in the back row. So super excited. It's, I guess, a position for me that I'm really comfortable in and have been at that position for a very long time. So super excited to be back there and give it a really good go. But Tiana did an amazing job last game as well. Just unfortunately she hurt herself, which is obviously why she's not here now, but I thought she was outstanding in that role. Obviously really important. Obviously we want to win every game that we play, but to win the opener and it's definitely going to put us in a good position come Game 2, but we obviously want to win every game that we do play. And it was really good, just I think for us mentally as well, to actually know that we can beat any team at Newcastle. Me personally, I haven't had a very great record there, not even just Origin, but in NRLW as well. So it's really nice that we can actually get the win there.
Individually? Is there plenty left in the tank?
100%. I feel my best. Obviously my age is, I get called a veteran a lot, getting older in my age, but I feel like with that comes obviously experience and Yeah, and knowing how my body works and how I respond to certain things. So I feel like I've gotten, my experience has definitely helped me come this far, and I love the game so much, and it's given me so many opportunities, and I just want to keep continuing to play as long as I can.
We'll stay with us here on NRL Tonight. We're off to a quick break, but when we come back, we'll preview tonight's clash with the Dolphins and Bulldogs with Fox League's Cooper Cronk. But as we head there to the break, we'll leave you with the last time that these two sides met back in round 12 last year. But the Dolphins triumphed over Canterbury in wet conditions.
Stone and then Averillo against his old club. A chance on the right-hand side as Sacco reaching out. A tremendous put down in these conditions. Nicarima, no look at Averillo. What hands here, Farnworth to Bostock, who steps back on the inside. Tremendous rugby league by the Dolphins. Kerr charging at them, pops it out the back. Gives it to Harrison Graham. He scores his first NRL try. Set restart. They go from dummy half and they've scored through Farnworth. Here's Keeley, gives it to Molo. He plants it down. And the party's in full swing now. Here's Averillo this time. He'll enjoy this against his old club. Another ball. Katoa putting on a show.
Welcome back. You're watching NRL Tonight with Sam Squires. Well, Thursday Night League pits the desperate Bulldogs and Dolphins head to head. A win for each would go a long way to improving their chances of climbing up the ladder, as our reporter Jared Pollard explains.
Thursday night footy sees the Dolphins take on the Bulldogs, two teams with records of 3 and 5 in 2026 and two teams who need a win if they want to stay in touch with the top 8. Now, the Dolphins have made a couple of late changes to their lineup. Cody Nicarima is starting at 5'8", with Brad Schneider dropping out of the first 13. The big in is Jeremy Marshall-King, who has been named on the bench and looks like making his first appearance of the season after recovering from a knee injury. Now, for the Bulldogs, they've lost Kurt Mann to concussion and Jake Turpin to a bicep injury, so Sean O'Sullivan and Harry Hayes come onto the bench, while Satili Tupanua has been named to start at second row and Jethro Rinakama has come onto the 6-man bench, replacing Marcelo Montoya. A milestone for Ray Stone, running out for his 100th NRL appearance as well. Now, some key numbers ahead of tonight. Jermaine Asako, well, he scored in each of the last 3 previous meetings between the sides. The most interesting number of the lot, though, the Bulldogs have only won 2 of their last 17 games at Suncorp Stadium.
Well, for more on tonight's clash, I'm pleased to say 4-time premiership winner and Fox League's very own Cooper Cronk joins me now. Great to see you again, Coop. Let's talk about the Bulldogs first. Big news, of course, is that Matt Burton is reportedly battling illness, and we've given until kick-off to prove his fitness. Like, late changes and uncertainty are never good, but for a Dogs side down on confidence and with mounting pressure, this is a deeper blow.
Yeah, it is. Hi, Sam. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it is a big game for the Bulldogs. Actually, both teams, I know the Dolphins won last week, but not too many wins in amongst the last sort of 5 to 6 games for both teams. When you talk about the Dogs, injury to Matt Burton, I think he will play. That illness will I don't think will keep him from playing the game. But if he does not play, I think it's an opportunity for the Dogs to move around. Sean O'Sullivan will most likely come on and start. Galvin will move to 6. But I think Stephen Crichton is the trump card. I'd be thinking about using him at some stage.
Yeah, that's going to ask, what do you expect them to do and how do they cover that loss? You say Sean O'Sullivan, you expect him to move into Burton's place, but could we possibly see Stephen Crichton move into 5'8"? Do you think that could be something that Cameron Serrato will think about?
Absolutely, Sam. I think it is. Their attack has been spluttering at different stages this year. Everyone talks about the win against the Dogs. It was great. It was marvellous, but hasn't been too much in between. And Stephen Crichton has been moving around the field, moving from that right centre position, played a little bit of fullback at different stages. I think he could be an option to play 6 if Burton doesn't play, but Sean O'Sullivan is probably the number 1 move, but I would be moving Stephen Crichton.
That's the Bulldogs, as we heard there. They're 3-5 with 3 straight losses. There's been a lot of talk about what they can improve and where they need to improve. But in your opinion, where is it all going wrong for the Dogs, and can it be turned around tonight?
I think naturally everyone looks at attack. Their points are down. They haven't been really hitting the scoreboard outside of that Penrith game in the last 6 weeks. But I think the key for the Dogs is when they are good, when they were great last year, they were the best defensive team. And you don't need to be a rep player, you don't need to be a state of origin player to make your tackles. And Cameron Ciraldo is the architect of the Penrith defensive team from years ago. He set up the Bulldogs defensive system. I feel like if the Dogs are to win tonight, if the Dogs want to improve and get back to top 8 type of football, it's got to be their defence that needs to improve. All they need to do is watch what they did against Penrith a couple of weeks ago and just repeat that. Your defence will help your attack, and then their attack will score points. Interesting
you should talk about Penrith heading into round 10. Last year, the Dogs were top of the table, 7 wins and 1 loss. This year, they're 12th. Now, the Panthers, they're top now, but it wasn't until round 12 last year when they reached absolute rock bottom of the ladder and then started to turn things around. Is there anything the Bulldogs can learn from the Panthers last year, or are the Dogs' problems far deeper, do you think?
Maybe get Nathan Cleary, Isaiah Yeo, Brian Totten and a few others of the gang, because that definitely helps. Look, I think the Dogs at last year, when we were marvelling at the way they were playing, it was defence-based. Their attack was okay, but they were strangling teams defensively. They brought in Lachlan Galvin at halfway through last year. Now I believe in Galvin. He'll be a very rock-solid player for a long period of time. I think he's got enough of the ingredients that a halfback needs, but I think defensively is where the Bulldogs need to improve. So don't worry about the attack. Don't worry about scoring points. Just worry about stopping the opposition. And maybe Crichton, maybe Galvin, maybe Preston or another player comes up with a big play that can win you the game.
Let's talk about the Dolphins. They, of course, had the big comeback win last week against the Storm for what was their 3rd win of the season. What impressed you the most about that performance from the Dolphins, which had possibly been missing in what has been a very up and down season for them?
Yeah, well, you said the Dogs get confidence from their attack. Well, I think the Dolphins the opposite. You know, one of the better attacking teams last year. Started the year on fire with a big win over the Sharks. But I feel like, when the Dolphins are up and about, it's their attacking players that dominate. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, Isaiah Cartel, Nikorima back in the side. They're arguably got the best back 5 in the competition, player for player. So if the Dolphins can get their best players, playing lights out football and really high octane, getting lots of possession. Now, possession is king for the Dolphins, because if they hold the majority of it, they will score points.
Let's talk about Jeremy Marshall-King and Cody Nikorima. They're both back this week. How much of an impact do you see their inclusion having?
Yeah, I just think it's getting their best players back in fit and healthy. Marshall-King at different stages last year has really grown into a rock-solid number 9. And Nikorima and that Cartel combination, it's almost telepathic at different stages. They've got so much repetition together. They understand each other's game. So when Cartel is about to do something, Nikorima has seen it 1,000 times over on the training paddock, and he reacts better than any other halves partner that Cartel has had. So it's a bit like getting back to familiarity and playing some really consistent football for those 2 inclusions.
All right, saying that, which way is your tip going to go tonight? Bulldogs or Dolphins?
So I think at Suncorp, I just heard the record about the Dogs' poor efforts at Suncorp at recent times. I think off the back of Nikorima and Marshall-King, I think the Dolphins' attack will be up and about tonight. So Dolphins for me.
Well, Cooper Cronk, we look forward to the game, look forward to your insights. Thank you for sharing some of them here on NRL Tonight.
Thanks, Sam.
Well, the Eels are in the midst of an injury crisis, with 7 regular first graders out ahead of their clash against the Cowboys. In response, they've signed Harrison Edwards with immediate effect, North Queensland forward who's played 54 NRL games.
Yeah, it's not easy. You go into a season with basically about 20 to 22 players which you think are going to play the bulk of your season, and then you get hit with those injuries. But it's just another part of the challenge in regards to playing NRL week in and week out. And the upside of it is we get to see other players get opportunities within the squad that you didn't think would probably play this season, you're earmarking them for the following season. So the one that comes to mind for us is Saxon Pryke. We thought he was a little way away. Certainly heading towards NRL, but it was we didn't know whether he was ready for it. And when you are forced to sort of make decisions and give guys opportunities, they sometimes surprise you. So he's been one of those guys for us that's done that this year, and he's managed to maintain his spot in the team on the back of how he's been playing. But we wouldn't have known that had we not had the injuries. Yeah, so Harry came about with our injuries at the moment. We've got quite a few, especially in our forwards and season-ending ones and long-term ones. So we obviously needed to bolster our depth there, and also Harry gives us the option to play him not only in the middle but as a hooking option as well. So that was the attraction to Harry, and that's how we come about. So we're looking forward to getting him into camp soon.
Do you think he'll be right in the frame for NRL selection after that?
I'm not sure. We'll just see how we get through this weekend or Friday night, and then we'll make a judgment on that afterwards.
Bradman Best has joked his side is too strong after the Knights were told by the referee to reduce your force during a tackle, a directive that sparked controversy among fans and commentators. Newcastle faces the Dragons on Saturday night as they look to build momentum following their win over the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
I had no idea. That's pretty crazy. I've never heard anything like that before, and I was joking around with Skipper today, but yeah, we still don't really understand that call, but he's too strong, the lad.
Holbrook's been able to name the same side for the first time in 2 weeks. That's crazy to think about round 10 and that's the first time you can do that. What's it like knowing that you have to score points when you fall back on the field pretty quickly?
Yeah, I guess it's a good, that's what we've been training in the pre-season, and you sort of want to see them results, and I guess we just need to keep building and just keep at it out here training and keep building them relationships and connections so it pulls off when we're playing.
Just to mention that, plenty to like in that first half, but a lot to learn in the second half. What can you learn from that game?
Yeah, like I touched on before, just our discipline and, when we didn't have the momentum, when our backs were up against the wall, just finding ways to turn that around and win the momentum back. So, games don't come down to the wire like that. Because we had a pretty good lead there in the first half, and we let them back in.
Obviously, there's been other weeks where you've had that good win, but then the following week isn't so good. How do you make sure you're not complacent going into this game against the Dragons?
Yeah, definitely. We know Dragons are coming off a bye. They're going to be full of energy, so we need to start fast. We've trained well all week, and we've spoken about it. So I guess it's individuals doing their job and coming together as a team and putting an 80-minute performance together that we're proud of.
Queensland Rugby League boss Ben Ikin has quit in the heat of the Origin period. He'll stand down as CEO at the end of July in a move that's reportedly shocked the QRL. The Women's Origin series is already underway with the Maroons down 1-0, while the men's series begins in less than 3 weeks. Ikin was linked to a role with the Perth Bears but has opted to leave rugby league entirely. Well, that's all we have time for on NRL Tonight this evening. On behalf of the whole team here, thanks for your company. For viewers on Fox League, the Bulldogs and Dolphins are up next. Enjoy your footy.